Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placote. Hey, Ron.
Howdy, howdy, Jimmy.
So you know who this is. This is Tulsi Gabbard. And she was one of the only Democrats to endorse Bernie Sanders, so she had to get kicked out of the DNC. And she had to leave when she did that. And she's a real champion, right? So she's not perfect. No one is. When it comes to the politicians who are viable in America, I think she's right up there, right? So she's about as good as progressives can get right now, I think. Would you say that, Ron?
Yeah, I'd say definitely on that scale and in that position of power, she's one of the brighter lights out there, and she has the right the kind of right background to really cross appeal. She has her service background, her
Right.
background in the military.
So she's from the military, and so she's the one who can come out and be against these wars, right? Because you can't call her a traitor, you can't call her a pinko, you can't call her a pacifist, you can't call her anti-patriotic. So she actually did her time. She served her country in the military, and she's telling the truth about Syria. People don't like to hear that. She's also telling the truth about the Democratic National Committee. She put this video out, and let's just listen.
Last year's presidential primary revealed deep divides within the Democratic Party that went far beyond substantive issue differences. Now, I wish I could sit here and say that things have gotten better, but it's just not true. Recently, the DNC chair, claiming diversity, removed a number of people from the party's executive committee, including Jim Zogby, the only Arab American, while allowing...
Now imagine if Trump did that. Imagine if Trump got rid of the only Arab American on their executive committee. Imagine if Trump, the people like, see? But the Democrats do it, and Tom Perez does it, and that's perfectly okay. And who did he put on instead of having Jim Zogby, a Muslim American, on? Who did he put on?
Lobbyists and consultants to keep their positions.
Lobbyists and consultants. That's the Democrats.
So what did those who were removed have in common? They either supported Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primary, supported Keith Ellison for DNC chair, or both. So the DNC's move to cast out those who just have fallen in line with the establishment and who are actually demanding real reforms is destined for failure. We must make sure that our voices are heard now as we fight for a new path forward that's more inclusive and that actually strengthens our democracy. It doesn't matter who supported Hillary and who supported Bernie. It's long past time to end the counterproductive infighting and name-calling. What we're talking about here is fighting for an open, inclusive, transparent Democratic Party that best represents and serves the people.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Not happening. Do you think the Democratic Party is going to divorce itself from Wall Street and their corporate donors? Because that would mean divorcing themselves from Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Do you think that's going to happen? And Donna Brazile and Tom Perez and Keith Ellison, who said, I'm willing to take corporate money here at the DNC if you guys are. Do you think the Democratic Party's ever going to do that? Get rid of their corporate donors, divorce themselves from Wall Street, and get in bed firmly with workers? Did you really think that could possibly happen to the Democratic Party? I do not. Not without a serious, serious third-party challenge. And even then, I don't think they're gonna. They'll just go, okay, we'll be the centrist Democrats. I'm telling you, that's a pipe dream. There's not enough people like her in the Democratic Party, especially in positions of power. They're just not going to let it happen. What do you think, Ron?
No, I'm with you, and she has the right message here because the DNC, Tom Perez, he hid under the diversity thing. There was
Yes.
there was an immigrant there was a transgender, and hey, that's all well and good, but let's not forget that this is really about, because you outed some different people, diversity too. This is really about who did you support, and if you supported Bernie, you're out of here. If you don't like the status quo, you're out of here. That was the real divide. But that message needs to be delivered by somebody like a Tulsi Gabbard,
Yes.
somebody that isn't a white guy. And so, like, I'm really glad she's pointing that out. I'm really glad she's recognizing what's really going on in the DNC.
Okay, I think there's a little bit more to this. Let's listen.
We need to get rid of the undemocratic system of superdelegates who literally have the power to swing an election, making up 1/3 of the votes any candidate needs to secure the nomination. We must enact open or same-day registration in Democratic primaries to make it easier and actually encourage voter engagement.
So these are all great ideas, Tulsi. You know Tom Perez just made sure that that's not going to happen, though, right? So you keep saying this is what we need to do. What do you mean we need to do it in 20 years? When do you think they're going to do it? They just told you they're not doing it. Tom Perez just did. So this is her video after Tom Perez did that. And she's saying what we already knew a year ago what the Democrats needed to do. And now we're a year later, they actually move further to the right again. They moved further to the right immediately by taking corporate money, installing Tom Perez over the will of the base, and they installed a donor puppet named Tom Perez. So, and they started taking corporate money. Now they're kicking all the progressives out of their executive committee, out of the rules committee. So what she's saying is this is all the things we need to do, which for sure aren't going to happen now. For sure. So I don't know what is this? So is this like, well, we have to fight and maybe in 4 years we could get these changes? Is that what you think she thinks, Tom? What's your name? Whatever your name is.
I don't know, because I can't help but like listen to this and be like, imagine a face like Tulsi Gabbard on a viable third party. Somebody who,
Yes.
we talked about not only her crossover appeal as a veteran, but I think the amount of it. There's people on the right that are very much non-interventionalists. That's part of the reason Trump won, because he said he was going to do that. He lied, but he said he was going to. Well, people that aren't at the non-interventionist point yet, but are more likely to listen to it, they're more likely to listen to it if they hear it from a veteran. People that are more conservative, if a veteran tells them, hey, it's time to end these wars and get our troops out of harm's way, it's time to invest this money back home, they're more likely to listen to that message. And seeing someone like a Tulsi in a viable third party, someone who's young and has ideas and has a lot of crossover appeal for both progressives and people on the other side as well. I mean, that'd be huge, but right where she is now, she has all these ideas that the establishment has already said no thank you to.
Right. So that's what. So Tulsi, what do you think you're going to do with the Democratic Party? I mean, they already hate you. That they don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. I mean, the only reason they tolerate Bernie is because he's the most popular politician in the country. If he wasn't, they would have nothing. They'd be calling him a communist. They'd be calling him a Russian sympath. They'd be doing all that stuff that they do to the people that they don't like, which is smear them. So just like they smeared all the people, they said they were racist. The progressives were all of a sudden racist against black women on the DNC's executive committee. That's what they said. That's who the people you want to work with instead of get rid of. You need to get rid of Tom Perez. So, but that's not happening, right? Because there's a rigged system. She's talking about the rigged system that is still staying rigged. It's not changing. So I super appreciate she makes this video. I super appreciate she says this stuff. Maybe, hopefully, this is her warning shot across the bow that we're going to run third party if you guys don't cut it out. But I think the problem is what I think, and I think well, let's finish this video.
Rather than making it more difficult, we must put people over profits and progress over special interests. Now, we can't do this if you've got just a few power brokers making deals in a back room. We can't do this with a closed process or with superdelegates that can swing an election. Your support, our voices right now are critical. Join me by clicking on the link below to sign our petition to reform the DNC.
Good luck. I appreciate it. I think it's fantastic. I agree with everything she says. We all agree with everything she says. I'm afraid of wasting more effort to try to reform the Democratic Party. It's just they lost to Trump and they're worse than they were before they lost to Trump. They would rather lose to Republicans than win with a Democrat. Do you really think you're going to take over that DNC? Do you think they're going to take over the DNC, Ron? Am I fucking stupid? Of course, we know that, but am I wrong also? about this? Because it just seems obvious. What do you think?
You know, there's a really, really cool meme out there that I saw recently, and it said something like, the people do not realize the power that they really have. And it was a diving board on a cliff, and standing on one end of the diving board on land was a bunch of people, and they were pleading with somebody standing on the edge of the diving board that was representing the establishment, and that was just one person that had the power. And they had the option to just kind of walk the other direction and find a new plank to stand on
and watch that guy fall off a cliff.
Yes, and of course it's metaphorical. Not don't want anyone to get injured here, but that's something that the people have the power to do at this point. Like, instead of starting a DNC reform petition, why not start another petition or
have
why
third
not
parties.
Get those signatures over to draft Bernie and let's
get him into the socialist alternative. Let's get him into the DSA. Let's get him into the Greens. Let's create an actual workers' party. Let's do that. How about that? Let's how about go vote Tulsi.com/workers party, and we could have a workers' party. So that maybe would poll at 5 or 10 or 15%, and then we'd have a real voice in our government, which now we don't, because the Democrats wag their finger at you and say you have to vote for us because of Trump, and they never come over to get your vote. What we need is the Democrats to come get our vote. And they're not doing that. So you have to become a third party. That's just there's just no reforming the party from the inside. Now, again, I could be I don't know. I could be wrong about this, but every piece of evidence says the opposite of that the DNC could be reformed. Am I wrong? I'm just going by the evidence that we keep seeing is that the Democratic National Committee and the corporate Democrats are not ever going to let. In fact, they're going the opposite way. Not only do they not accommodate the Bernie Sanders wing of the party, they're shutting them out, which is half the party, which is the future of the party. Everybody under 35 and under voted for Bernie 7-1 in the Democratic primaries. Those are the people they're getting rid of. So I say, good riddance. Let's leave them and let's fucking beat them.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Starting a new viable third party, that's not going to be an easy task. That's going to be a long haul. Reforming the Democrats from within, well, that's not going to be an easy task. It's not going to be a long haul. So which one seems more realistic? Well, let's look at what's been happening contemporarily. Justice Democrats, who I love the people involved with that. There's some wonderful progressives there. They're doing great work. They're already getting screwed over by the establishment. They're already not getting the data that is rightfully theirs. They're already getting shunned. I mean, it's like, eventually, it's like, well, gee, we keep trying to break our way into the church and they have padlocks all over the place. Maybe we should just build another freaking church, because I'm looking around and there's a lot of us. And that's why I was in D.C. in early September for Draft Bernie.
That's why I was there, too. It's because we can't wait anymore. We can't cross our fingers and hope Tom Perez comes around. Because he ain't coming around. That guy is not your friend. Tom Perez is your enemy, and he's working against you. And unless you're a millionaire, he's working against you. Just so you know. Here, she has a little bit more of a statement, which I'm going to choose to read. I wasn't sure. She says, by now it is obvious that throughout the course of the Democratic presidential primary campaign, the DNC shrugged off the qualms of independents and progressives who sought a more robust debate centered on issues. So by now it's obvious. So if that's obvious, I raised an objection to limiting the number of debates in my capacity as DNC vice chair. The chairwoman disinvited me from the first Democratic presidential debate that I was already confirmed to attend. Sadly, it appears that the same disposition that underestimated the appeal of Donald Trump still pervades the Democratic National Committee. Just this month, Chairman Todd Perez removed members from the party's executive committee, all of whom share in common their support for Bernie Sanders and Keith Ellison in his race for DNC chair. Those expelled include Jim Zogby, the only Arab American on the executive committee, while lobbyists and consultants kept their positions. If the DNC is going to represent the people, they need to break their ties with the corporate establishment that has usurped our party, and instead return to the grassroots issues that connect us with the people in the first place. We need to end the undemocratic system of superdelegates and ensure that all primaries and caucuses are open and have same-day registration available. That is not going to happen. If we don't reform the DNC, then we will all get is more of the same. Openness, inclusion, and transparency should be the issues that are up. Should not be the issues that are up for debate. So there you go. There's Tulsi Gabbard. I just think it's a mistake to try to get progressives to join the Democratic Party. I just think it's a mistake. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe this is going to work. Maybe Tulsi knows way more than I do, probably. And maybe there is a viable chance. Maybe because Bernie's going to run in 2020 and then but they're going to screw him again. So again, I'm hoping that I don't know better, but I'm just going by the evidence that we've been presented over the last year and a half or whatever, or since 1992, that the Democrats are not your friend. They don't want anything to do with reform. They don't want anything to do with anything that doesn't have to do with corporate money, Wall Street, Big Pharma, Silicon Valley, and fossil fuels, and the military-industrial complex. Let's remember, all the Democrats supported a $700 billion increase to the military budget. That could have paid off all the students. That just about could have given us free college, everybody free college in the whole country. Everybody could have got it just like that. And by the way, they did this no debate. So it's time to get rid of the Democratic Party. How long are we going to run around hand-wringing about this? How long are we going to keep making videos about how they have to change? And please help me change them. How long? How much longer? It's been going on since fucking 1992. How much longer?
Well, and the big thing is like we're banging down the doors, not even for just some huge like shift tomorrow, but for like a seat at the table. To kind of start that shift. Yeah, and even that is beyond pulling teeth.
All we're asking for is a fair primary, and we can't get it. That's all we're asking for is a shot to get progressives elected. We just want a fair playing field. They're not giving it to you. They don't want you. Shama Sawant wasn't kidding when she said the Democrats would rather lose to Donald Trump than win with a progressive. They're not kidding. How much clearer do you have to be? How much clearer do they have to be? So I know, again, I'm far from any kind of sage or genius. The reason why I do this show is because a guy like me with limited abilities could see through the bullshit, which is why I started doing this show, because I knew they were lying. I knew that if I knew the crash at the Wall Street was coming, then I knew everybody in the plutocracy knew it was coming too. And they lied to you. If I knew the Iraq War was a lie, they all knew the Iraq War was a lie. And they lied to you anyway. That's why I do this show, because it doesn't take a genius to see through their bullshit. And it doesn't take a genius as far as I can tell, that the Democratic Party is not reforming. In fact, they're going the other way. And it doesn't matter. We showed up in California. Overwhelmingly, progressives showed up to vote in their progressive delegates to take over the California Party. We did that. They have super delegates on the state level also. Fucked over the progressives who thought they took over the party. They then installed... They told the progressives to shut up and get the fuck out. That's a quote.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
From the chairman of the Democratic Party in California, told the progressives and the nurses to shut the fuck up and get out. And what did they do after that? They installed a pharmaceutical lobbyist who lobbied against Bernie's cheaper drug bill here in California last year. They installed him as the chair of the DNC to kill Medicare for all. And they did it. So that's what's happening with the Democrats. So I don't know how many more videos we're going to make, how many more statements on Facebook we're going to put out, how many more we got to change the D. So let's start a new party. And that's what I'm all for. In fact, I'm going to do a story right now about unions that actually are coming together and realizing that they actually need a labor party. That's actually happening right now. Even with sellouts like Randy Weingarten, she actually is coming around. Randy Weingarten, well, that's another video. We'll get to it. Please make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe to the show, you have to click that little bell next to it that gives you an alert every time we have a video, because YouTube is making it harder for people to find our stuff, and they're unsubscribing people from our show and stuff like that. So you have to be on it. If you'd like to see our videos, you have to make a little bit of an effort now because they're making it a little bit harder. So I'm told that you're supposed to subscribe and then click the little bell next to it that gives you an alert every time we drop a video. Thanks for your support. The next live Jimmy Dore show is November 6th in Burbank, California, and November 12th in Portland, Oregon. Link for tickets right there.